Well, I just think like comics are crybabies, and like give me a break. You get up there and you talk for an hour, and then they have an impulse to be heard too. You know what I mean? This is if it's rock and roll, well, who cares what they think about it? And truly, like political correctness with young people, for me, it's an overcorrection for a serious problem like bigotry and racism. And yeah, they've swung the other way, and yeah, they're a little irony deaf. But I'll take like an irony deaf, tolerant crowd over a racist crowd that really understands the workings of comedy and irony. I mean, if it infringes on free speech and all that stuff, I'm against it. And I'm totally against them even in theory. Yes, of course they shouldn't be. Of course they should get this. I've had jokes that I thought were taken as the very thing they were satirizing. You know, like were seen as racist when it was meant to be the exact opposite of that. But you know, that's part of the gamble of what performing is. It's meant to be interpreted in any way it can. And I don't know, I'm just like, you know, my mother's a hospice nurse, so it's hard for me to look at, you know, a couple college kids with signs outside a comedy show and think that I'm, you know, up against anything structurally. And yeah, sometimes I think the pendulum has swung the other way, a little too far from whatever, but it's a good direction, you know, and it'll correct itself in the middle. But no comedians are being, you know, thrown in jail. They're getting like lit up on Twitter maybe a few times. They go through, you know, and that's wrong and maybe bad sometimes. But again, this is from people who have had their opinions heard relentlessly, hours every night, all the time. And then a blogger gets up and expresses their opinion in a blog, and it's like, what? I mean, I don't understand it. It makes no, how do you not understand that the audience has the same impulse you do?
It's just that when there's retribution on Twitter, it can be a tidal wave.
Totally, absolutely, yeah, that's its own thing, and that's horrific. And when someone tweets a little joke that's misunderstood and their life is ruined, and they get fired from their job, that's awful. But that is not PC-ness to me. That is internet being unrestrained and anonymous and horrifying and violent and quick and too many people at once. I think those two things are conflated a little too often. I'm saying because the PC-ness that I really see railed against is just college kids figuring out how to think and maybe being a little too protective of certain things, which is like, you know, well, that's what college is for, I think.